Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I want to thank Michael. He's done a great job. He's real. I looked at some numbers before. They're looking awfully good, and I give a lot of that attribution to Michael. He has been a wonderful leader in this great state that we love. I want to congratulate Senator Dean Heller on his victory. And he's going to do a tremendous job. He's going to be a continuation of a great senator. He's been with me all the way once we got elected. I mean, I must tell you, he's a little bit shaky at the beginning, but that was when with a lot of people running. But once we got in there, he's been rock solid, and he's been great, and he's going to do a job. And he cut your taxes, and nobody fought harder to cut taxes than Dean Heller. I will tell you that. Your great Attorney General is here, Adam Laxalt. And he's running against Shady Steve. And, well, you know, if you think of the names, right, if you think, because it's always good to sort of, if you can think of something like that. But he's going to win this race so easily, I really believe, right? Where's Adam? Where is Adam? Where's Adam? Come on up here, fellas. Come on up here. Dean, come on up, Dean. Come on. Thank you very much. Come on up. Thank you. Thank you. And a man that really was so fantastic. And he's been like a supporter of mine for a long time. He is a very intense individual, like that's the bloodlines, you know, from this family. And boy, that father was good. He was tough. He was tough. There's only one difference. Danny's even tougher. Danny Tarkanian. Danny, come up. Come up. He's a great team player, Danny. He's a really great team player. And Dean and myself, we really appreciate what he did. And he's going to go in there and he's going to win in that 3rd congressional district. Right, Danny? Going to be there for a long time. I also want to, obviously, welcome all of our Republican Party delegates. You've been here and working and striving, and look what happened. Look what happened, right? You really are. You're the heart and soul of the party. And this is a great state. This is a state that is going to be with us and has always been with us, and we love the people. I'm here a lot. We have a great development down the road, but now I don't think about that anymore, right? I don't think about it anymore. But I just wanted to go because I don't think anybody's come close to doing this. You know, you read the fake news, it's fake and disgraceful, and they don't talk about it. I read a story in the New York Times recently about things that we do and they say we didn't, or it's just horrible. I want to say some of the things, because I don't believe any administration, any president has come even close to doing what we've done in the first 500 days. And I won't even mention North Korea in that 500 days. I won't even mention it. But that was a great, I mean, we have a good chemistry together. Kim Jong-un. We have a great Chairman Kim. We have a great chemistry, and we're well on our way. You know, we signed an agreement. It said we will begin the immediate denuclearization, okay, of North Korea. It says that we already got back the hostages, and I saw it today. Well, Obama got back hostages too. Yeah, he paid $1.8 billion to get them back, okay? They didn't say that. In the New York Times, they don't say that. They said, but Obama got them back too. Yeah, but he a little bit different. They gave him $1.8 billion. In green, can you believe this? In cash. How do you do that as president? How do you do that? But we also... you know, when I was campaigning, people would come to me and with tears in their eyes, they'd say, would it be possible to get back the remains of our father? Would it be possible to get back the remains of family members that died in the Korean War? I said, I don't exactly have a great relationship over there. This was before the election. I said, you know, that's not sounding like an easy one, but I'll tell you what, I'll try. And as we're negotiating different points the other day in Singapore, I asked Chairman Kim, would it be possible to do that? The last thing I asked, I said, do you mind, because I have many people that have written and called and spoken to me, would I be able to get the remains back of all those great heroes that we had from so many years ago? And he said, I will do that. And you probably read, they've already done 200 people, which is so great. So great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's so nice. And remember, just recently, I got a call from the Prime Minister of Japan, Prime Minister Abe, and Japan is so thankful. There's no rockets flying over Japan. You know, they were flying right over Japan, and they weren't so happy. And, you know, the Japanese are great warriors. They're great warriors, and that was not a good thing. And they're so happy that they don't have that. They were having rockets, and they were testing rockets. You haven't had a rocket or tests in 7 months, 8 months, long time now. It used to be every week would have another nuclear test, a rocket test. They've blown up their nuclear site, their testing site. They've gotten rid of, in the process of getting rid of, their engine site for ballistic missiles. A lot. We're developing a very special kind of a situation where hopefully in the future, because you look at locationally, you look at it from any standpoint, North Korea has tremendous potential. Chairman Kim sees that, and a lot of tremendous things are going to happen. We were really helped by South Korea, President Moon. We were tremendously helped by Japan. We were really helped also by President Xi of China with the border. Now we have to work on our trade with China because it's been very tough on our country for very many years. Our presidents did nothing about it. And we probably lost last year $500 billion in trade to China. Think of it, $500 billion. So we've started a process, and I think that'll work out with China because we have a very good relationship with President Xi. He's incredible. So I think that'll work out. We're working on a NAFTA deal. And NAFTA's been a disaster for us. You know, Mexico makes over $100 billion a year. It's hard to believe. It's, you know, you say these numbers, $100 billion, not trillion, not $100 billion, not million, fortunately, not trillion, very fortunately. But think of it. So $100 billion a year we lose on trade with Mexico. On top of that, they have a tax, a VAT tax at 17% that we don't have. So they make our cars. A lot of car companies went there, and they send them back over the border at virtually no tax. And we lost a tremendous amount. Now they make a big percentage of our cars. It's not fair. So we're renegotiating NAFTA. And I think when it's finished, it's going to be it's got to be a fair deal. It's got to be fair. We can't do this any longer. We can't do it anymore. And Canada charges us 275% tariff on dairy products going into Canada. It's ridiculous. And then they act like, you know, it's like, you probably read over the last couple of weeks with the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who's a nice guy, but we can't have it. We can't have it. 275% tariff, and we can't have it because basically that's a barrier. They say, we don't want your product. They tell the farmers up in Wisconsin and all of the different places, we don't want your product. 275 is like having a barrier, of which they do have barriers, and which many other countries have barriers. So we're working on Canada, we're working on Mexico, we're working on the European Union, we're working on China, and everybody now is coming back. Have you been seeing what's going on with our steel industry? We put steel tariffs on. U.S. Steel is now building 6 plants or expanding. A steel company today announced a $500 million plant, and that's a plant that's been built in many, many years. It's a long time. The steel industry started, and we need steel in this country. We need steel, including for national defense. We have to have steel. So a lot of things are happening. The trade stuff is coming along, just starting, but it's going to happen because, you know, we're the piggy bank that everybody likes to rob from. They like to steal from. And unfortunately, and we have great allies, great friends, we protect them for a very small cost. If you look at NATO, we protect them for a tiny fraction of what it would cost, which is unfair also, but we won't even get into that. We're having a meeting in July. We'll talk about it. But in so many ways, our country is taken advantage of, and we're settling it up, and we're going to all be friends. We're going to all be happy, but we have to do these things. So with the European Union, we're losing last year $151 billion. $151 billion. They don't want our farm products. They tax our cars very heavily and really don't want them. They really have a barrier. And yet we take in Mercedes and we take in BMWs by the millions, and it's not fair. It's not fair. And we charge them almost nothing, and it's not fair. So when they charge us that, we have to say respectfully, I'm sorry, but you know, we're going to have to tax your cars if you're taxing everything else, and if you're not going to take our farmers' products. We make the greatest products in so many different ways, and they don't want them. And that's okay, but then you're going to have to pay. You just can't come in and do that. We can't lose $151 billion with the European Union. We can't lose $100 billion with Mexico. So the trade deals are actually coming along. And honestly, they're talking. You know, when they have the tariff like that put on, they want to talk. They didn't talk to Bush. They didn't talk to Obama. President Obama, they said, we're not going to talk to you about trade. Why would we talk to you? And they said, okay, great. Let's leave it for Trump. Let's leave North Korea for Trump. Let's leave trade for Trump. Let's leave immigration for Trump. We'll leave it for Trump. They left us a lot, but I'm actually having a good time. Thank you. Actually having a good time. We're doing a job. And on immigration, we have to be very strong. I mean, everybody sees, but this is the same site that Obama had, that Bush had, same site. It's the same thing. In fact, they said, look at this site. Look at President Trump. Look at this picture. Excuse me. It was 2014. It was President Obama. Okay? Our people are actually doing a very good job handling a very difficult situation. But this is a problem that should have been solved years ago. So we're working very hard. The fact is we need more Republicans because the Democrats are obstructionists. They won't vote. They're total obstructionists. They don't want to vote. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. They just want... They want to use the issue, and I like the issue for election, too. Our issue is strong borders, no crime. Their issue is open borders. Let MS-13 all over our country. That's what's going to happen if you listen to them. So we're being very, very tough at the border. In fact, until just recently, we had a 70-year low coming through. And by the way, we want people to come into our country, but we want them to come in for merit, through merit. We want a merit-based system so they can help us. You know, we have tremendous numbers of companies coming in. We have a 3.8 unemployment number, which nobody thought was even possible. And we have a 3.8. We need people to come in, But they have to be people that love this country, can love our country, and can really help us to make America great again, which is what we're doing way ahead of schedule. So since Election Day, we've created, and this is hard to believe because nobody, the news back there, fake news. If I would have said this during the campaign, we've created 3.4 million new jobs since Election Day, 3.4. If I would have said that during the campaign prior to the election without the numbers, they would have said, you have to be kidding. How about our GDP numbers? How about that? I mean, even more so. Think of this. Unemployment claims are at a 44-year low as of last week. Unemployment for African Americans is the lowest level in history. Remember, I used to say at the rallies, what do you have to lose? I meant it. What do you have to lose? Because they always went with African Americans, always voted, for the most part, for Democrats. And I'm reading tremendous crime, bad education, bad this, bad that, not safe, everything bad. I read like 10 different points. Income levels, home ownership levels, everything. And I said, vote for me. What do you have to lose, remember? And they were smart. We did very well. We did very well. Those numbers went up plenty, and up enough so we won the election. And now we have the African-American, think of it, African-American unemployment, the lowest in the history of our country. Hispanic, any Hispanics in the audience, perhaps? Hispanic unemployment, the lowest in the history of our country. Women, unemployment, the lowest in 21 years, and shortly it will be the lowest in the history of our country, but the lowest in 21 years. That's down to 3.6%. Nobody would believe the numbers. Over 3 million people recently got off food stamps because we're doing so well. That's a big number. And after years of stagnation and even going down, people were making more money, relatively speaking, 20 years ago than they would make 2 years ago. And after years of stagnation, wages are rising again, and jobs are looking for people. Small business optimism has reached an all-time high. It's the highest it's ever been recorded. We've signed the biggest tax cut and reform in the history of our country. That's a biggie. That was where Dean, and I'll tell you, Dean really helped. He was in there fighting hard for us. You were fighting hard. That was not easy, was it, huh? That was not easy. But Dean Heller, we owe a lot. And I have to tell you, his opponent wants to raise taxes. She wants to raise taxes. Think of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Should I mention her name or should I not? Huh? I have a great nickname for her, actually, but I'm not going to. No, we shouldn't do it. All right, I won't do it. Wacky Jacky has... You don't want her as your senator. You don't want her as your senator. Now, that name didn't come from me. That's a name that people have known because people that know her, that's what they call her, Wacky Jacky. That's what you want for your senator? She wants to raise taxes. And I think somebody said she's in Nevada right now campaigning with Pocahontas. She's campaigning with Elizabeth Warren, sometimes referred to affectionately, of course, as Pocahontas. They wanted me to apologize. No, I did, though. I did apologize to Pocahontas. I apologize. To the memory of Pocahontas, I apologized. No, Wacky Jacky is campaigning with Pocahontas. You believe this? In your state. And they don't know how to say Nevada. They don't know how to say it. She called it Nevada. Okay, so when you see that, that's not the senator you want. And, you know, your senator has to deal with your president, and your president loves the state. But I'm not increasing taxes. You have a Democratic Party. It's really a Democrat. I don't like the word democratic because it's not a democratic. Do you ever notice the way everyone calls it the Democratic Party? It's not Democrat. It's called the Democrat Party. It really is. And it doesn't flow as easily. You know, it doesn't. When you speak, it sounds nicer, Democratic Party. But, you know, we're talking about people that want tax increases. They want open borders. They got to have open borders. They want people coming in. You look at MS-13. We take them out of this country by the thousands. They're flowing. We take them out by the thousands. And we have the toughest border you can have, considering the laws are the worst in the whole country. Our immigration laws are a laughingstock all over the world. We're the only people. People walk in, they put a foot in. Please, would you like to register? Other countries, they say, get the hell out of here. They do that. They have to do that. We say, you know, they want to hire now 5,000 more judges so that a person puts the toe in the land and we have to go to trial. This is crazy what we're doing. I don't want judges. I want Border Patrol. I want ICE. We don't want judges. And the problem is, and I've said it, you know, we have great people in the House, Republicans. We get the tax bill. We didn't get one vote from Democrats in terms of the Senate, and I guess in terms of the House. We didn't get a vote. And we cut taxes massively. And these companies that are all moving back now, Chrysler's coming back. So many companies are coming back. That's why we do need jobs, and that's why we do have to get them into America. But we need jobs because we have all the companies. We have so much happening. They're coming to Ohio. They're coming to your state. They're coming to Pennsylvania. They're coming all over. It's incredible to see what's going on. But we have to do it in the right way. We have to have strong borders. You cannot ever allow a statement. For instance, if I got up here today and said, we want everybody to come, we want to take care of everybody, let me tell you what would happen if I said that. Now, they'll put it on that where they won't do, and they'll say, Trump said we want everybody to come. These are the most dishonest people, not all of them, but many of them. They are among the most dishonest people on earth. But if we did that, everybody come, if we did that, you would have, you're right, the word is overrun. We will have millions and millions of people pouring through our country with all of the problems that would cause, with crime and schools. And you would have millions. All I have to do is say, yes, we want to take care of everybody. We want everybody to come. Do what you want to do. Even if they saw weakness, if they see any weakness, they will come by the millions. We have to have strong borders. We're going to have the wall. We're going to have the wall. We've already started it. We've already started it. You know, we've started it in San Diego. Now, we're going to have the wall, and we started it. We have $1.6 billion. We've started it. We're fixing it, and we're building new, and we're starting it. But and we'll build it for a lot less money than these people think. A lot less money. But we're getting the wall built, and we're going now for our second portion. And it's brutal dealing with the Democrats. They want to do nothing. Just so you understand, your delegates, you know what's going on. You're political people. You love the world, the politics. Sometimes you probably go home and say, why do I like it? But when you think about it, we're dealing with a group of people that don't want to approve anything. If I said, as an example, if we gave them everything they wanted, they would say, don't approve it. Because they think immigration is being weak on the border which is therefore allowing tremendous crime to come into our country, they think that that's a good issue for them. I don't think being weak on the border, being pathetically weak on the border, I don't think that's a good issue. I may be wrong. I think I got elected largely because we are strong on the border. I really believe it. So we signed the tax bill, and the tax bill was, the cut was great, but we also got ANWR, which is one of the great sites in the world for energy. And we got rid of the Obamacare disastrous individual mandate where you pay a fortune for the privilege of not paying for health insurance. This is one of the great disasters, the individual mandate, gone. Has anybody realized that? Has anybody where they use it where you pay a lot of money for the privilege of not paying, okay? And you get no health care. And we just opened with our great labor secretary, Department of Labor, cooperative and association health care. It's going to be, many of the people in this room are going to be buying it. It's going to be low cost, phenomenal, much better than Obamacare. And we're doing more in another 2 weeks, different forms of health care. And Obamacare is now going up. Every time you see an increase, that's Obamacare. And Obamacare is on its last legs. It's almost finished. Don't forget, I had it finished. Did we have it? It was done. Repeal and replace Obamacare. It was done until early in the morning. A man walked in, and he said, thumbs down, thumbs down. That was not good. And nobody knew he was going to do that. He campaigned on repeal and replace. He campaigned for years. Repeal and replace. Repeal and replace. Nobody talked to him. Nobody needed to. It was a done deal. And then he walked in, thumbs down. It's all right, because we've essentially gutted it anyway. And we now have really good stuff coming. And just remember, if you see your numbers go up for those that are remaining, it's the Democrats' fault. And by the way, immigration, it's the Democrats' fault. We won't get one vote. I'm telling you, if we gave them every single thing they want, they will say, we don't want it. It's pure obstruction. Remember their word, resist. Resist is their word. Do you remember what our word is? Huh? Right? Lots of different words, but ours is like approve, get it done. Get it done. Their word is resist. They want to resist everything. They think that's going to help them get into office. I don't think so, especially when it comes to raising taxes, when it comes to having weak borders and crime, and when it comes to bad health care. They have horrible health care. So that's what the story is. But ANWR, and we got rid of the individual mandate. Obamacare, you're going to look at it. It's almost now a thing of the past. Should have happened a few months ago, but we had a little surprise. So we were given a little early morning surprise by one of our own. One of the biggest things we've done is the record number of, we've really knocked out regulations at a number that nobody can believe. We've taken out more regulations than any president in any one of their terms, for full terms. We've approved the Keystone and the Dakota Access pipelines. We've ended the war on energy, and we've ended the war on clean coal, one of our great assets. We've withdrawn from the job-killing and unbelievably expensive Paris Climate Accord. That was a beauty. That was a beauty. That was going to cost us more money than anybody would have ever believed. We've signed landmark accountability legislation for the V.A.A. where you're accountable now if you do a bad job. We fire you. And 2 weeks ago, we passed Choice, V.A.A. Choice, where rather than waiting online for weeks and weeks and dying, you know, you had people went in, they're moderately, they have a minor problem. They end up, it takes so long, they end up terminal. Now they go see a doctor, and we pay for the doctor. These are our great veterans. It's called V.A.A. Choice. They've been trying to get accountability for 40 years. They've been trying to get V.A.A. Choice from the beginning. And, you know, before I knew much about the Veterans Administration in terms of choice, I said, why don't they use choice? I thought it was my idea. I said, oh, I'm so smart. What a great idea. I went to the group. They said, yes, sir, we've been trying to get that for 35 years. So that's all right. But I knew how to get it. We got it now. They've been trying for 35 years. We secured a record $700 billion, and then next year $716 billion to bring our military to the highest level it has ever been. We needed it. We confirmed more circuit court judges than any other new administration, and we will set the all-time record with judges, including our great new Supreme Court Justice, Neil Gorsuch. We withdrew from the horrible one-sided Iran deal, and that's going to turn out to be very good. That was one of the great embarrassments. And we moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. We're renegotiating all of those trade deals that I told you about. We're working with China. We're working with all of those countries where it's so one-sided, and all of that will work out 100%. But we cannot be taken advantage of any longer as a country. We're not doing it. We're getting rid of sanctuary cities. We're getting rid of unsafe places. We're protecting your Second Amendment. Have to protect it. "95% of American manufacturers just announced that this is in the history of the chart, which they think is 28 years old. They've been doing this for 28 years. In history, it's the highest history of they love what's going on. Let me put it this way. They approve what we're doing. It's the highest approval rating that this country has ever had by the people that create jobs, namely the manufacturers. Just came out. And 100 utility companies have lowered their prices because of our business tax cuts, and the savings to America and Americans are going to be over $3 billion. Think of that. For farmers and for small businesses, we have eliminated the estate tax, so you can leave your farm, your business, to the people you love, and they won't have to go bust borrowing money so they can pay the estate tax. And we have so many other things that we've done and so many other things that we're doing. We're very proud of it. We could not have done it without you. It's been an incredible journey for all of us. We started out saying we were going to do this and that. Nobody had any idea we'd be able to do so much so soon. In a very short period of time, all those things have been done, or they're very close to being done, but most of them have been done. A lot of them have just great starts. You know, you have to start. And I can tell you that on trade. You're going to see things happen over the coming months that are going to really shock you. Because for so many years we felt so badly. You know, our jobs have been taken. Our companies have been just taken like we're a bunch of babies. Let's take the company. Let's close up the car company. Let's fire everybody. Let's move the company to another country. And then we'll sell back cars right into America. We won't pay tax. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. They're gone. So I just want to, this is a very special group, and I know so many of you because we campaigned together, but I just want to thank everybody there. You've been my friends, and you've really been loyal. You've been strong. I want to say to Adam, good luck. You got a tough race, but he's a tough cookie. He's going to get it done. Going to get it done because he knows how to get things done. I want to say to Dean, look, he's done so well that I can't imagine anything bad happening, but you have to always fight hard. You have to be a little bit like, be careful. You never know. You just can't let Wacky Jacky do it. You can't let it do it. Remember, a vote for her is a vote for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. So it's very simple. Just remember, a vote for her is a vote for taxes going way up. Your taxes that you've cut way down are going to go way up. They're going to give you all sorts of false promises. Your taxes are going way up. There's no doubt. Nancy Pelosi was caught 3 weeks ago. Did you hear her? Where she was saying, forget about the crumbs. It's been used too much. But it's a lot of money for people. $2,000, $3,000, more than that. But so I don't even talk about the crumbs. But 3 weeks ago, she was talking about she wants to raise everybody's taxes. Okay? I don't think so. Somehow that doesn't play very well. But a vote for her is a vote for increased taxes, weak borders. It's really a vote for crime. It's a vote to get rid of police officers. It's a vote to get rid of ICE. They want to get rid of ICE. Do you know how good ICE is? These are the toughest people. In Long Island, we have towns where they have a lot of the MS-13. And the thing they respect is toughness. They don't respect, like, if you're the #1 student in your class. They don't respect that. They respect toughness. Our ICE people are so tough. They're much tougher than the MS-13 people. And they respect our ICE people. And these guys go in with the paddy wagons, and they grab them, and they put them in, and they take them out, and we get them the hell out of our country, and we put them in some cases in jail. They're killing people. And they don't kill them with guns. You hear so much about guns. They kill them with knives because they cut them into little pieces because it's much more painful. They're taking beautiful young women off the street. The father and the mother, 2 of them. They had a daughter, 2 daughters, killed so violently by MS-13. Cut up. Not shot, cut up because it's more painful. These are sick, evil people. I called them animals, and people said, oh, that's a terrible thing to say. No, they said that's a terrible thing. Nancy Pelosi said that's a terrible thing to say. She was defending MS-13. So a vote for Jackie is a vote for Nancy Pelosi. It's a vote for Schumer, and it's a vote for all of the problems that they bring. And I don't think you want that. You have an outstanding man in Dean Heller. And I know, and I've been on both sides of him, and I want to tell you, he's a tough cookie. He's a tough cookie. And we want him on our side. So I'll be back a lot. But I'm just telling you, I'm leaving now. They got me making like 4 speeches. You believe this? Crazy. I said, where do you want me to go? Well, sir, you're making a speech here, then there, then you're doing 2 roundtables. I said, what's this all about? But I will be back a lot. It's an incredible state with incredible friends. I have a great friend of mine, Mr. and Mrs. Phil Ruffin, are here today. He's a fantastic man, fantastic businessman, one of the most successful businessmen in the country. But I'm going to go, and I will be back a lot because we're going to be fighting really hard for Danny, for Adam, and for Dean, and for others, And I just want to thank you for your incredible support. You have been there from the day I announced that I was going to run for president. You've been there. So I want to thank you. Thank you very much, Nevada. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nevada, we love you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be back a lot. Come on up. Come on up. And, you know, they had me really working. I gave a speech and a roundtable, then another roundtable, then another speech, and here we are. And then we go home, but I don't want to leave your state because I love your state. Maybe we'll just stay, Adam, right? So I want to thank Dean Heller, who's been an incredible senator, worked so hard with us to get the taxes cut. Very simple. You know, I talk about reform, but it's really tax cut. There was plenty of reform also, but we had one of the great really the greatest tax cut and reforms ever in our country's history, the biggest. And so I want to thank you. That was a fantastic job. Dean Heller. And your Attorney General, Adam, who's running for governor, I think you're going to do great. I think you're head and shoulders. I want to thank a friend of mine, Steve Whitcoff. You know, people don't realize Steve started out as a lawyer, very good lawyer, top lawyer in New York, and then he said, I'm going to go in the real estate business because I can do this too. He saw me do it, and he said, if Trump can do it, I guess I can do it, right? Steve was a great real estate lawyer, and he represented a lot of us from the Manhattan real estate world. And one day he said, hey, maybe I'll do this, and he bought a little building, and it worked out. Then he did another one, and it worked out. And now he's done a lot of them, and he's become a very wealthy, successful man. And he's my pal, and it's nice that you're here, Steve. Thank you very much. Special guy. So I want to just tell you that what we've done has not been done before. We've created a lot of different things. We're going to talk about taxes, but just briefly, regulation cuts, the biggest in history. Nobody's ever cut regulations. We're talking about 511 days so far. And you can go 4 years, you can go 8 years, you can go 16 years, doesn't make any difference. Nobody's cut regulations like we have. Nobody's created tax cuts like we have. Nobody's going to protect your Second Amendment like we will. Every single you know, for a lot of the small business owners, and to me this is very important, the estate tax, the small business owners, the farmers, all of the people that we love and we cherish, no more estate tax. The old days they had to go out and get financing and put it up right up to the neck, and then they had to pay interest, and in many cases they couldn't do it. And Steve, they'd lose their farms, they'd lose their businesses, they'd lose whatever. And we've cut the estate tax, and for the smaller businesses there is no estate tax whatsoever. So families can leave their business to their sons and daughters. The Heritage Foundation just came out recently, and they said that we've already implemented 64% of our top agenda items, and that's ahead of anybody, including Ronald Reagan. So we've done a lot of work in a very short period of time. And, you know, the bottom line is America is open for business. I got elected on Make America Great Again. We started using America First. And that's what we're doing on trade. We're renegotiating some of these horrible trade deals that we have with other countries. We have some of the worst deals I've ever seen, whether it's China, the European Union, Mexico, Canada, you name it, we have a bad deal. And we're changing those deals. We lost last year $800 billion with a B, $800 billion on trade. And in fact, I want to be very precise because Steve is such a great lawyer. It's $817 billion to be exact. That's big money, even in the world of real estate, Steve, right? That's big money. That makes everything we do like a little tiny peanut. And we can't do that. We can't do that. And we're not going to do that. So we're negotiating deals. The steel industry, I don't know if you've been seeing what's happening, but the steel industry is coming back. United States Steel is expanding or building brand new plants and beautiful new expansions. They haven't done it in 35 years. Another company, a wonderful steel company, just announced a $500 million plant today. Another one's going into Ohio. We have Ohio, Pennsylvania. We have all of these incredible places. They're seeing the steel industry come back, and I need it to come back. We need it for defense. You know, steel isn't like some other industry. Steel we need. Aluminum we need. We're having tremendous activity in the world of aluminum now. So we put a 25% tax or tariff on steel coming in. They were dumping steel all over our country. Now all of a sudden, if they want to dump, that's okay. They have to pay a lot of money to dump. But more importantly, our industry is coming back far faster than we thought. If other countries aren't going to treat us with respect and aren't going to treat us properly on trade, because they haven't, with these massive deficits that we have, the big one is a car tax. They send in cars into our country by the millions and millions and millions, and we pay. I mean, if we send cars to them, they either don't want it or it's a big tax. As an example, if we send a car into China, they charge 25%. When China sends a car to us, we charge 2.5%. Somehow that doesn't work, right? So we're going to change it, and we're going to get along great with China. We're going to get along great with everybody, hopefully, in the end. But we have to change it. It's not fair. It's not fair to our companies. It's not fair to our workers. One of the big things we just did is we had a great meeting, as you know, and a very successful one with North Korea. And the relationship is now very good. Total denuclearization of North Korea, and the process is beginning, and further talks are going on. We're getting the remains back of our great heroes. There have been so many people ask me, could you do it? The remains are coming back. We have over 200 already. This is something we never got anything back, anybody back. And so many, I guess for the most part, it would be the children and the grandchildren. They want to get the remains back of their fathers and their grandfathers, and we're starting that, and it's been really incredible. We got our hostages back, and the New York Times said, well, Obama got hostages back too. Yeah, but he paid $1.8 billion. We didn't pay $1.8 billion. We didn't pay a penny. We paid nothing. Yeah. But at the same time, North Korea was very smart. What they did was very smart, and they made it so that we got them back, and they are now living with their families very happily. That was 2 months ago. They're living very happily with their families, and that was something that was great. And very importantly, most importantly, you haven't had any rockets shot over Japan. You haven't had missiles going over Japan. You haven't had any nuclear tests in the last 7 months. You haven't had any tests of any kind in the last number of months. Sites have been blown up where they had the testing. They're getting rid of their engine site. The engines, these are engines. They call them engines for ballistic missiles. That's going. And step by step, it's really working out well. And most importantly, I have a very good relationship. We have a good chemistry together. We got along very well. He's a smart, tough guy. He's a great negotiator. I think he sees a tremendous future for North Korea, but we want to have it denuclearized, and that's what's happening. So that was a great visit. It was a 2-day visit. It was a great visit. It was really quite something. So we're very happy to we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And China helped us at the border. I have to tell you, President Xi really helped us at the border. And Japan, Prime Minister Abe was terrific. And the president of South Korea, we really worked well together, President Moon. And it's a great team. I mean, honestly, it's a great team. And we did things that everybody said were really impossible to do. Nobody would have believed it. If you remember, before I got elected, it sounded like we were going to war with North Korea. And that was a war that could have cost the lives of 50 million people. You know, Seoul, Steve, when we think New York City's big, Seoul, which is 30 miles off the border of North Korea, has 28 million people, Steve, 28 million. So in New York, we have 8 million, and we think New York is big. Seoul has 28 million people. And it's literally not even nuclear distance. It's right there for their, they call them cannons. They have thousands of cannons aimed at Seoul. And we think that everyone's going to be very safe. We'll keep going with this, but everyone's going to be very safe. I think we've made tremendous progress, and it really was a lot quicker than anybody thought possible. So we're doing very well, and I'd like to maybe we'll start off and we can talk about, you can ask questions or make some suggestions, but maybe I'll ask Adam, do you want to start the process?
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President, for being here. I wanted to give you an update from the front lines on how Nevada's economy has been soaring over the last few years. We're seeing the results on jobs and the economy firsthand. No state in the country was hit harder by the recession. And today, jobs have come back and businesses stronger than ever. We've been growing by about 40,000 jobs per year. We have our lowest unemployment rate in more than a decade. Right now, manufacturing jobs are growing at the fastest rate, and these are good jobs that are well-paying, that are able to sustain families and hardworking Nevadans. This past year, we saw construction jobs go up by 8%. You're very familiar with the Strip. We see record projects down here and all over Nevada. And we're at a record high for small business jobs. We have over 632,000 jobs and over 18,000 new small business jobs just last year. These important jobs for small mom and pop businesses. Your economic policies are working. Thanks to the tax cuts and less burdensome regulation, America's economy is coming back. I have to say that here in Nevada, we are leading the charge. We've got the fastest growing private sector in the country, and as strong as the national economy is growing, thanks to a lot of these reforms, our job growth rate is nearly double the national average. Wages are at record high, and this proves, Mr. President, that lower taxes and fewer regulations get results. Thank you very much for leading on those reforms. So I would just close with, we still have a lot more to do here, and I know you have a lot more to do for the country, but we need to fight to keep our taxes low, fight to keep finding ways to reduce regulations that do not help our businesses and that are excessive. And I look forward to working together with your administration for our great state. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Steve, go ahead. After that build-up I gave you, you better do a good job.
Mr. President, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me here today. It's really, as always, a pleasure to be with you. I'm here to tell a story and echo what the Attorney General talked about a project that we're doing, and it's a success story. So my partner and mutual good friend of the President's, Howard Lorber, and I bought a project, the Fontainebleau Project, which we have now renamed the Drew, after my son Andrew. And this is a approximately 9 million square foot project that was 75% built, went through a foreclosure in the financial crisis, 4,000 hotel rooms, that will have a cost of roughly $3 billion to complete, but also that lay dormant since 2008, in large part because of the financial crisis and some other conditions. It's the only project I know in a major city in the United States that has laid dormant for the last 10 or 11 years. Why? All the reasons that you have cited. Poor U.S. GDP growth prior to your administration coming in, pessimism among lenders and equity partners, and a prior administration that certainly, in my view, contributed by talking down Las Vegas. President Trump has changed all of that with the tax reform package and the overall fiscal stimulus that this package represents. The tax reform package, and I know it well, is chock full of stimulative features like expensing, which we haven't seen since the days of Ronald Reagan, opportunity zones, which is something not a lot of people are talking about, and I have to commend you because I think it's going to be invigorating in communities that need to see development, all of which are designed to encourage business activity. Overall, this administration's policies, which also include deregulation, has led to significant GDP growth. Positive business activity is made possible when government, private investors, and labor come together in a way that benefits everybody. Here, on this project, the Fontainebleau, which we will start construction activity in July of 2019, we will create approximately 11,000 jobs in Nevada. That's 3,500 construction jobs. And 7,000 permanent jobs. And we will create a solid investment for ourselves and thereby make a contribution to U.S. GDP growth because of all of this and because of the President's policies. And I would mention one more point about the Drew. I lost my son Andrew to an opioid overdose years ago. The president came to his funeral and came to a Shiva call, and I talk often about this, about his hug. And the Drew is named after my son Andrew. My family is deeply grateful to the president for taking on the fight against substance abuse, which is a pernicious problem, and no one before him took it on. And I think it's just nothing short of incredible. But when this project is finished, my family will dedicate a significant portion of its interest towards this substance abuse fight, so that my son's death will always have meaning. In my view, it is President Trump who has created the conditions for all of these things to happen. So thank you for having me today. I am deeply grateful to you, Mr. President, for your tireless work, for your dedication to this country. It has been my blessing to have a close friendship with you for 30 years, and it is my honor to call you my president.
He did good. He did good. Well, I knew Andrew. He was a great young man. And he, with a great family, father who loved him, mother who loved him, great people. So I just want to say that it's an honor what you just said. You know, I looked at that site, and then I said, nope, I'm going to run for president instead. But I actually... And did you buy that from Carl?
I did.
From Carl? Well, Carl?
It was some negotiation.
I can imagine. With Carl, it's never easy, but that's great. It's going to be a great success. A beautiful location, and I saw a concept and a design, and it is really going to be a tremendous success. So, congratulations. That's great. Thank you. Barbara, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to be here. I'm very excited to talk to you all about how the Drew has impacted my life in a positive way. I am a Las Vegas native. I've lived here my entire life. I went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, graduated in construction management. I met my husband here. I'm raising my 2 boys here. We really love this city, and I'm excited to be in the city. I am a construction project manager for Whitcoff Group, and the evolution of how that happened is sort of interesting. Again, when I graduated in construction, the growth and development in Las Vegas was booming, and so I was fortunate enough to be able to work on some of the amazing strip properties that exist today. And unfortunately, over the last 8 years, its construction and development has been slow, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Fountain Blue project and be the property manager there. And a year ago, I met Steve Whitcoff when they were looking at acquiring the property, and I was lucky enough to be brought onto their team, in the development team, and I get to work on this incredible, amazing property and resort. And when he brought me on, of course, that brought job security that didn't exist before, increased compensation and really, future growth development that didn't exist in the preceding years. So I'm really excited to be a part of this project. It's going to be an incredible resort when it's complete, and the team is really working diligently to bring something amazing to the Las Vegas Strip. And I'm, like I said, a longtime Las Vegas resident. And I'm really excited about what's happening in the city. There's a lot of growth, a lot of development, and it's all very exciting to see happen. And again, thank you for letting me to be here.
Well, thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you very much. I so much want to ask Whitcoff what he paid, but I'm not going to do that now. I just want to see where he is relative to what I think he could have bought it first. I'll ask him after this is up. I know he made a good deal. We have a very special person with us who's become a friend of mine, Alex Acosta. He's the head of the Department of Labor, he's Secretary of Labor, and he's just unveiled a health care plan. You can call it association plan, you can call it whatever you want, but it's going to be millions and millions of people where they're going to have tremendous negotiating rights to buy health care with the insurance companies. You can cross state lines. That means you have a lot more competition. and he's just done a tremendous job as the Secretary of Labor. And I want to ask you to say a few words, Alex, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. And let me just say this is a great city to be talking about this. Just about 2 hours ago, I met with Mary Beth Seawold, who's the president and CEO of the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce. And I wanted to talk with her because the president unveiled these association health plans on Tuesday. And on Thursday, I read that Mary Beth was already moving to make these into a reality. And so these are so straightforward and so simple. Right now, small businesses have massive disadvantages in providing health care to their employees. The regulatory burden on small businesses is actually greater than on large companies. Think about that. Small businesses, the engine of growth, have a greater regulatory burden than large companies. And they don't have economies of scale. They don't have bargaining power. But what if the Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce can bring all these small businesses together and bargain on their behalf as if the chamber is the employer offering the benefits to the employees of all the small business members? And Mary Beth has already seen this opportunity, and it's already taking action. Mary Beth. And her point to me was real simple. After Obamacare, they did a survey of their small businesses. And about a third of them said, we can't afford health care anymore. And in fact, a lot of the small business owners were saying we're going to have to get a second job just to try to afford health care. And as a result, they went without coverage. And so she sees this as an opportunity for the chamber to empower small businesses to do what they do best, which is to create jobs and to create economic growth. And that's the idea behind association health plans. These are going to be really, really big. Thank you for moving so quickly, Mary Beth.
And she's a great negotiator. Great negotiator. That's good. You're going to have fun. They're all going to be out after. They want that. You know, the insurance companies are going crazy for this. So you're going to have a lot of fun. Good luck. Thanks, Mary Beth. Make a good deal. Please.
My turn. Hello, President. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Fong, and I'm the founder of Asian Cultural Alliance, a nonprofit community resource center for all Americans across Las Vegas, and the initiator of Nevada official May 18 Asian Culture Day, which are in line of what's next to me, U.S. open for business. By the way, I have some of our country chair, they have came early and wait, and they just love you.
Thank you. Where are they? Thank you.
Yes. I want to thank. Yes.
Thank you.
I want to thank Senator Dean Heller for this opportunity, and we need your experience to continue to help our great president for years on end. I'm truly honored to join this roundtable with the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, one of the presidents that we ever had. Mr. President, your tax cut have delivered an enormous impact on our community. I've seen it day in, day out, through my work at the Asian Culture Center, on my professional job as a home inspector. Fewer and fewer people are unemployed, and for the first time in 8 years, housing value are increasing in Nevada. Mr. President, you made a promise, and you kept your promise.
To make America great again. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much.
to make America great again. Which our children's future depend on your daily decision. Thank you, Mr. President. Me and my kids are so proud of you. Last, may I offer you, Mr. President, a book. The Magnificent Chinese Jade Pagoda. The author, Ms. Mako, is also among the audience, which we are working very hard to bring to Nevada as a culture piece, and the summary of Asian Culture Day. May I?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. You did a good job, right? Did he do it? Thank you, Kevin. Very nice. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and continue to be our greatest president in the history.
Oh, thank you. Here we go. That's tough to beat. Can you beat that, Ryan?
I'll try. I don't know. Be tough. Mr. President, it's an honor to have you back on behalf of Michael and Paula Gahn, who are out of the country. They would have been here to greet you personally. My name is Ryan Growney. I'm the general manager of the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. This is the South Point showroom. Yeah. And we're a large property in the south end of Las Vegas Boulevard. 2,700 employees, 22 nearly hotel rooms, 2,200 hotel rooms. Arena, equestrian center with 1,200 horse stalls. So we're talking to my guys here from Silver State. Hey. Bowling center, movie theater, it's a large property. And if I could just give two examples, these gentlemen hit on everything that I could have said, but on this property, I can assure you the tax cuts affected our employees and our business. The first is we were excited about the announcement. We know it's going to be good for the economy. We know it's the right move. We wanted to make sure our employees were excited about it. So shortly after the announcement was made, my boss picked up the phone and asked our payroll director, what would it cost us to do a second round of holiday bonus checks? And she says, a little over $500,000. And we had just sent them out 3 weeks prior. And he says, please prepare the checks and get them in the employees' hands as soon as possible. And that was absolutely immediately a direct result. The second piece of it is something my boss was very happy to do was we hadn't increased the cost of our benefits for our employees in 4 years. But in the last 3 years, for the property, the health insurance costs had gone up 32%, which in a property this size, you can imagine what that number is. So in November, we announced that we were going to pass along some of the expense to the employees. And with the announcement, after he gave back the checks, he decided that wasn't enough. So unbeknownst, we said, rescind the increase to the employees. So now for the last 5 years, even though the cost has gone up substantially, for the last 5 years, our employees aren't seeing that increase. So every check they get now will be the same when they look at it, the same as it's been for 5 years for the health insurance cost, which is almost $500,000. So $1 million directly from the announcement. Thank you. And then to the point of some of the other things that came about of this, with regards to the depreciation changes, we had a 3-year plan to remodel 2,000 of our hotel rooms. We'd have to do 1 tower per year, and it's hard. That's not the optimal way to do things, because we'd hire a crew, we'd get them started, and then we'd have to fire them, and then 6 months later hire another crew. And when the rules came out and we looked at it, we decided that we could take advantage of some of the capital that got freed up. And instead of spending $30 million in 36 months, we're now going to spend $30 million in 18 months. We're going to keep those guys working. We're going to get a premium room product on the floor available to the public a lot faster to take advantage of some of the things that these guys are talking about. 15,000 new rooms are coming online, 3.8 million square feet coming online. I think it's $18 billion in construction either being planned or underway. Las Vegas Stadium, 4 miles down the street. So a lot of those things are due to you, and we just want to thank you for everything you've done. We want to thank you for being here, all the other panelists. It's a great honor. And my friend Jason here is one of our employees, Jason Monhay. He runs our Baja Miguel's Mexican restaurant, and he has a fabulous story regarding this property. And if I could, I'd love to ask him just to tell it.
Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Mr. President, good afternoon. How are you? So I began my career here back in 2008 of August. I worked my way up the ranks and started as a busboy here and was able to, through hard work and determination, make my way up into a managing position at the restaurant, at one of our 11 restaurants here on property. With that being said, I also have a family member here who works here as well, which is my mother. Couldn't have done it without her support and the support of my family as well. She has been a day one employee here at the South Point, which opened back up in December of 2005, so she's been here since then. I am not only a manager, but also a family man. My wife, Martha, is my rock. She's actually here today, supporting. Thank you. And we have 2 wonderful boys back at home. Oscar is 4 and Diego is 2. And your tax cuts enabled our owner, Michael Gahn, like Ryan said, to give back $1 million collectively to all of his employees, myself included. And you have no idea what that's meant for my family. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you, Jason. Very nice. Very, very nice. Thank you. And Jason, great hair, number 1. And Ryan, say hello to Michael, friend of mine, great guy. He's done an incredible job, really. So give him my regards. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Please, Richard.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you today. I'm a co-owner of Silver State Hay, and the real heart and soul of the company is my wife, Elisa, who also owns it with me.
I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My mom's from Cuba, my dad's from Indiana, and they met here in junior high and have been together since. I'm the oldest of 6 and met my wonderful husband here in Las Vegas.
Mr. President, I was born in Chicago, Illinois, raised in Lexington, Kentucky area, enlisted in the Marine Corps about 2 weeks after high school. Transitioned off of active duty in the western part of the United States, accepted employment here in Las Vegas where I met my beautiful wife. We have 2 children together, our son Nicholas and daughter Kira.
We're very blessed to have our beautiful children. My daughter's here in the audience with us today. We own a family-owned business. We're 3rd generation owning it. My grandmother started it. She was a horse trader and a trainer. She got tired of getting ripped off. So she decided to go to the farms herself directly and start buying the hay herself and start selling to friends and neighbors. And my dad took that business and made it an actual business. So he began selling around the city here to different feed stores and ranches, and now we own the business.
Yeah, Ron, her father, approached us in 2009 to take over the business, which we did, invested a little money into it, expanded it, and now have customers from pretty much the entire southwestern region of the United States and do over $1 million in sales a year. Yes, sir.
We've even done some overseas shipping recently, so that was pretty cool too. People ask me, what I do for a living, and when I tell them I sell hay and live in Las Vegas, they kind of give me that crazy look. I'm like, yeah, we have horses here, I promise. But, sir, your tax cuts have really helped our business. They really have, and we appreciate that. I was able to hire another family member due to some of the money we've been saving, and we've had a recent increase in sales, about 30% increase this year so far. Our customers are confident in the economy right now. So before they were barely making it, barely able to afford their hay, and right now they're actually stocking up. So that's been a huge, huge benefit for us and for them as well.
Also, Mr. President, your tax cuts have benefited our family just with the significant increase in the standard deduction as well as the child tax credit. We stand to gain about $1,650 next year alone, which just isn't a drop in the bucket. Bottom line, Mr. President, we appreciate your efforts for the tax cuts under your leadership. and thank you for the boost in money in all of our pockets. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much. It's a very good team, isn't it? Back and forth. Did you practice that? That was really good timing. Thank you very much, God. Thank you. So a friend of mine, somebody that's really been in the trenches with us, he fought very hard with all of the Republicans. We had no Democrat support. It was too bad. And I think it's going to come back to haunt them. But Dean Heller, Senator Dean Heller, has been somebody that really got in there, and he fought as hard as anybody I know to make sure that you got that tax cut and reform, and that everybody else in our country got it, and they're very happy about it. And the Democrats are actually now saying they've got a problem because it's worked out far better than anyone thought. And when you add the regulations and all of the other things we've been doing, it's a great combination. And while you're all talking about the economy is doing well, it's going to get a lot better. Expensing is something, Ryan, that, as you call him, your boss, Michael, would know very much about. But one-year expensing is, I think, going to be the sleeper in the bill. We have another where literally trillions of dollars are going to come back into the country. Apple has already agreed they're going to be investing $350 billion. They're bringing approximately $230 billion back from overseas, where you would have never seen that money again without what we did in terms of the reform on the tax cuts. So there's just one example where Apple spending $350 billion. And you have many companies doing that. You have many, many companies. They're spending money, and it's really something very beautiful to see. It's jobs, it's imagination, it's so many different elements are at play, but our country is doing really well, and it's going to even do better. We're working very hard on the border with the immigration. We have to be very strong on immigration, but we have to let people in, the right people, where we have a merit-based system. We're developing a beautiful merit-based system so we can fill all of the jobs that you all created. And that's working out very good, but we do have to be very strong. And if we're not, you're going to have millions and millions of people come up, and it's not going to be a good situation. It'll be a very bad situation. If you look at what the Democrats are doing, and Dean understands this better than anybody, if you look at what they're doing, they want to have a very weak border, a very open border, and that's going to lead to tremendous crime and a lot of problems for a lot of people, including jobs. It's going to be a very bad situation. So we're working very hard on it. It'll get done. It'll get done properly. We have to be very vigilant and strong, but a lot of good things are happening. So I want to just introduce Dean Heller, a real champion, a hard worker, and a total winner. And he's got a tough race, but I think I saw a poll just a little while ago that looks very, very promising, very good. Even beyond what we thought. I don't even want to tell you because maybe you'll ease up, and I don't want him to ease up because it's going to be a tough race. But he's going to win that race, and we need you back in Washington, and he has really been an incredible messenger.
Thank you. Mr. President, thank you very much for coming to Nevada, coming back to Nevada. You've been here many times, and for us here in Nevada, and listening to you and hearing the issues that you discuss, health care, immigration, crime, tax issues, all of these issues, how the economy is doing is important for all of us. So I want to thank you for all your hard work and effort. I'm going to share a quick story that I shared earlier. I've been with the president all day today, so he may get tired of listening to me at this point. But having said that, I want to thank our panelists that are here today. I want to thank the Labor Secretary also. And Mr. President, you've heard stories from a bunch of Nevadans here today, and there's a lot more out here in this audience. I want to thank everybody that is here, having an opportunity to listen to this president. Isn't it great to have a chance to have him? But I want to share one quick story that I shared earlier, and this meant a lot to me, and that's probably why I'm sharing it. But in the very depths of the tax reform package, and the struggles and the fights. And as the president said, we didn't have any support from the other side of the aisle, so we had to get it right. I spent time with his Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin. And he called me in. In fact, we were having breakfast together, and we were getting into the depths of this and just making sure that this tax package that came out of Congress would do exactly the benefits that we heard around this table today. But Treasury Secretary said to me, I want to show you something. And it was a framed article that was on the wall next to his desk. It was a Wall Street Journal article, and it was their announcement that the president, President Trump, had just nominated him as Treasury Secretary. And the president cut this article out and sent it to the Treasury Secretary, and what he wrote on it was what was important. And on it, the president wrote 5% GDP. Now keep in mind, we had been wallowed in less than 2% GDP for the last 10 years. And this guy gets nominated Treasury Secretary, and the message that he gets from his boss is, I want 5% GDP. Where are we today, Mr. President?
Doing very well. You've probably seen 3.2, which people would have said would have been impossible, and there's only a projection, so who knows what that means. But the Atlanta Fed just predicted 4.8, right?
Something like
4.8.
that. Yeah, 4.8. Think about that.
Who knows what it'll be? I will say this. Each point is said to be $3 trillion. Think of that. So, a point, 2 points, 3 points. But each point is said to be $3 trillion. And each point is said to be 10 million jobs. So I think we're going to do very well. And we're going higher than that number.
Mr. President, I just want everybody here in the room, and they all know it, and these are all my friends out here and your friends. I just want everybody to know how hard this administration works every single day to create these kind of jobs. And the fact that just the fact that you have a Treasury Secretary who says to me every day I come to work, I look on the wall and I know exactly what my boss wants. I think that sends a message not only to that office but also across the board to everybody else that works in this administration. Mr. President, thank you for coming to Nevada. Thank you for taking time. Thanks for all the hard work you do.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank all the people of Nevada. It's been just a great place from my standpoint. Nevada is special. It's been so many friends just in the audience. We have to get our friend into office. We need him there very badly. If that doesn't happen, and if other things would happen, you're going to have a massive tax increase, and you're going to have a regulation increase, and it's not going to be a good situation. A lot of bad things will go on, and we can't let that happen. It's going to be a nasty race. It's already started to be nasty. Pretty much all of them are for some reason. Nobody really knows why. But, it has been this way before. I said to one of the senators, Dean, I said, has it always been this nasty? And I won't tell you which 2 or 3 administrations, but he's been around a long time. He named 3 different times when he thought it was worse. I said, that's pretty hard to believe. But it's tough stuff, but we're winning. We're winning like nobody's ever won before, and we want to keep it going. So get Adam and get Dean and get them in there, and I'll be back a lot. Thank you all much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.